The day has come to start analyzing the movies from the animated film and series franchise called The Legends. Until now, I hadn't talked about them because in reality their theme isn't purely pre-Hispanic. Well, it has embedded elements of all kinds, both ancient and modern. And well, the first movie in this universe was released around 2007, initially receiving governmental support, especially from the government of Puebla. And little by little, due to the success achieved, it started receiving private resources, and now it's being featured on various platforms like Netflix, Prime, and more. And its animation quality has had ups and downs, as the movie we will analyze here indeed looks a bit old in terms of its animation. But well, that's not an impediment to enjoying it. However, in other stages of the franchise, despite having more resources and being aware that making a movie is not the same as creating an animated series. The truth is, in its face, as the creators, I really didn't like the animation. But well, here we'll analyze the 2007 one. Essentially, this universe addresses various popular legends from Mexico, with its protagonists being a mix between Ghostbusters and Scooby-Doo. They go after supernatural beings, uncover mysteries, and help people against malevolent entities. In this aspect, we find the first criticism not only of this movie, but on the entire franchise, while it tells us that the heroes fight evil things. This conception of evil and demons is a gift from the European Spanish perspective, because to this day we can never fully understand how pre-Hispanic cultures conceived dark things. But the Christian God, the devil, and concepts of God and evil only arrived with the Europeans. These movies and series being a clear example of what happened in these lands, a syncretic mix of everything. Thus, in this franchise, we see that where European influenced towns and churches are present, pre-Hispanic objects and concepts, as well as things that shouldn't really exist. Like, for example, hearing a young girl speak like a chica fresa from Polanco. But well, entertainment after all. If you haven't seen The Legend of La Nahuala, I've provided a link in the description where you can watch it on YouTube. The protagonist of the movie is a boy from Puebla named Leo San Juan, who lost his parents and has an older brother who always bothers him. Being so young, he is fearful of many things, and of course the legend of La Nahuala terrifies him. In the movie, similar to the legends, she takes control of the house similar to the Casa del Alfeñique, capturing the souls of all who lived in that house. She seeks to take the souls of 3 children to then take control of all of Puebla. However, a friar and some indigenous people prevent her from taking the 3rd soul. They defeat her and seal the haunted house. After that event, 52 years passed, but on the Day of the Dead in Puebla in 1870, La Nahuala could return. Considering that in the process Leo's brother is captured by her and introduced to the mansion. The protagonist seeks the city priest's help to save his brother, but upon going to the house, he's knocked out by a man who's going to assist the Nahuala. This man had previously been trying to lure children into the mansion, thinking that the Nahuala was his mother, who died during her initial appearance. And so, only Leo enters the house where he begins to meet characters who, as spirits, also inhabit the house. Some of them will help him in this movie and the following ones. These characters include Xochitl, an indigenous girl, sugar skulls, figurines that don't speak, the post girl from the Villavicencio family who lived in the house named Teodora, as well as a Don Quixote-style gentleman named Don Andres, and a giant, Alebrije. After passing several tests, the young boy gradually gains enough courage to confront the Nahuala. She must be stopped before midnight strikes, and the Day of the Dead on November 2nd begins. In the final battle, his grandmother joins him, and together, using both Christian objects and the so-called Cráneo de Tezcatlipoca, they manage to defeat the Nahuala. They destroy the medallion of Miquistli, which was used to steal souls. This medallion is shattered using the Cráneo de Tezcatlipoca. The Nahuala is turned into a stone statue. The souls of the two girls are released, and the priest dies in the process. Simultaneously, all the souls in the mansion are liberated to ascend to heaven. Leo saves his brother and his grandmother, and after a year, all the ghosts from the mansion visit Leo at his house, receiving the next mission. This mission involves going to Xochimilco and battling against La Llorona, the weeping woman. The other spirits join him in the next adventures. And this is the end. Now, for those who have followed us on this channel, the analysis is based on historical sources. As I mentioned earlier, as an entertainment product, it holds up, which is why this franchise has survived for so long. And well, it uses classical Mexican humor and the tropicalization of phrases, jokes, pranks, and clichés, which is already so common in our animation. Now, let's look at the aspects of pre-Hispanic cultures that appear in it. These are quite recognizable, starting with that they call the Medallón de Miquistli, the Cráneo de Tezcatlipoca, Tezcatlipoca skulls, the reference of cycles of 52 years, and obviously referring to the concept of the Nahual. Now, how well did they use these elements in the film? They refer to the so-called Medallón de Miquistli. This object doesn't exist in real life, but according to the plot, it gives power to the Nahuala to take souls and thus be able to return. As I've said, while analyzing all animation and even documentaries, let's remove those ideas of association death and its surroundings with evil, with the devil, and such nonsenses. Because nowadays, with modern content creators, they automatically believe that if we talk about the underworld, about Miltantecutli, in this case about Nahuales, it must inevitably be linked to things that had to do with evil, and that everything is about darkness wanting to dominate the world. And we see this confirmed by looking at other products like Onyx Equinox, Maya and the Tree, Eagle and Jaguar, and of course in this movie, where the favorite villains are the Nahuales, Mictlantecutli, or other underworld beings that always want to eliminate humans, possess souls, and conquer the world. But in truth, their worldview wasn't like that. Starting with the translation of the word Mictlán, a place of rest, a place of silence, and Miquistli is one of the day's things, its translation being death, which in no way implies that we're talking about devils, evils, or anything like that. But well, the script needed an antagonist and supernatural objects, and well, there's the medallion de Miquisli. Now, let's move on to the cráneo de Tezcatlipoca, which in turn destroys the medallion de Miquisli and defeats the Nahuala. The artifact does exist, but it's now in the British Museum. This artifact is a human skull with the face covered in small obsidian and turquoise plates, while face eyes occupy the sockets. However, the history of this piece is confused because various historical records, due to ignorance and fanaticism, suggest that the object emitted an aura of evil. So, it amuses me that the medallion de Miquisli is bad, while the cráneo de Tezcatlipoca isn't according to the film. But in truth, to this day, it's not known if this object was dedicated to Tezcatlipoca and carried that name. Well, while there's a mention of it by Bernardino de Sahagún in General History of the People of New Spain. Furthermore, of the said god, whom they called the Smoked Mirror, they are said that he protects sorcerers and wizards, and he is their master. In the past, the priest kept a relic of great power, which they called the Skull of Tezcatlipoca, but it has been lost today. This quote is not enough to confirm that it's the same skull, adding another aspect that casts doubt on this object: the blue color it has, because in codices a distinctive feature of Tezcatlipoca is that his facial paint is usually black with yellow, not blue, admitting the possibility that this could be the skull of Huitzilopochtli instead. However, with the limited information available, nothing certain can be affirmed. Even so, unlike how it appears in the movie with an obsidian mirror at the back, the original piece obviously doesn't have anything. Another relevant reference is the cycle of 52 years, where precisely during a new fire lighting, despite being in Puebla, it was the first time the Nahuala attempted to free itself, and only after another 52-year cycle had passed could it try again. So, it's a good reference of their part to use this important cycle in their calculation. I've already made other videos about this topic, which you can find in the tabs above. More than a pre-Hispanic analysis, but it shows that they mix everything, the famed being called alebrije. I regret to inform you that during the colonial period, alebrijes did not exist, and as they only emerged in the mid-20th century, so strictly speaking, that alebrije shouldn't even be there. On a final and more substantial point, obviously the Nahuala herself, who also had to learn Spanish. Damn invaders, they even imposed that on the Nahuales. But beyond this joke, the reality is that Nahualism is something very complex, starting with the fact that the Nahual was believed to be something invisible or hidden that we all possess, that it can equally exist in nature, and that in some cases certain individuals can awake their Nahual and transform, according to many legends and myths. Or we also have the version that our Nahual was born with each of us at birth. So, Nahual equals being evil? No. And of course, I understand that they had to be a villain in the Scooby-Doo style, but the concept of Nahual as depicted in the movie falls short. So, let's arrive at the final conclusion. The Legend of the Nahuala is a good, entertaining movie that can inspire us to learn more. Because this analysis video wouldn't exist without it. However, perhaps because it's now a bit old, it exemplifies the problem that has been repeating over time. creating entertainment products that mention pre-Hispanic matters because they're eye-watching, but without comprehending, studying, and thoroughly exploiting those same concepts they invoke, seeking only to serve the plot, and that's it. But don't worry, that's why we're here, to analyze and provide our perspective.